Welcome to Save Your Sanity, Help for Toxic Relationships. I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler. In this episode, we're going to be talking about 10 shattering signs that your partner is having an emotional affair. And this could be a very gray area. You don't want to believe somebody's having an emotional affair, and they say things like, oh, we're just friends. And then you can get very, very confused. So I wanted to give some clear things to think about, to weigh what's happening against what is an emotional affair, and whether or not this person that you're thinking is having an emotional affair is actually engaging in emotional infidelity. It's so good to be clear and to open your eyes and see, oh, yeah, I think those things really are going on. I don't want to see them. I don't want to acknowledge them, but I think they really are going on. And much as I don't want to see it and I don't want to believe it, I need to kind of wake up and smell the herbal tea and know that that is what's happening. So important for us. So let's have a look at that tonight, and to go through towards the end the 10 shattering signs that's happening. But before that, I have so much information for you. So let's get right into it. Emotional infidelity, you might wonder what it is. It's when you've established or maintained a close, intimate connection with someone who isn't your partner or your family. A close, intimate connection with. Now we have friends that we seem to have a close intimate relationship with, but they're not intimate in the ways that we're talking about here. Intimate is familiar and close and private and personal, and leaning toward having sexual tension. And what we're talking about: sexual attraction, sexual attention, flirtation. That's what we're meaning by intimate in this situation, or what I'm meaning as I share this information with you tonight. And friends, yeah, we enjoy conversations, we enjoy common interests, but we know that the line toward emotional infidelity is that there is sexual tension, there's a wisp of a romantic attraction or the desire for one, or to test to see if there is one. And big issue, you keep it a secret or dismiss it as a friendship only when you're asked. When all those things are present, we are now talking about emotional infidelity. So this intimate part is important. Infidelity, of course, means being unfaithful or acting in a way that you ought not to because you have already committed to a partner. And cheating is when you act dishonestly, and this is big, or unfairly to gain an advantage. That's what cheating is, and emotional infidelity is cheating. So let's look at those big three things, because it's a big wow. There is emotional infidelity when there is dishonesty, when it's unfair, and when it's done to gain an advantage. So how do hijackals do that? Well, first of all, they don't tell you the truth. They're quite good at lying. I've done many episodes on their ability to lie and what to do about it. And if you ever want to go back and find all those episodes, just go to SaveYourSanityPodcast.com, and they're all there for you. Or go to where you like to get your podcasts and just put Save Your Sanity in there, and you'll find them. They're everywhere. So I've done lots about lying and dishonesty. So a hijackal is likely to tell a lie in order not to have to be accountable or responsible. So that's likely going to happen. And it's going to be unfair because it's going to be that they're doing something that they don't want to tell you about. They don't feel comfortable telling you about, or they feel very uncomfortable telling you about. So they want to keep it a secret. And then the last one is that cheating part. They do it to gain an advantage over you, which is they're getting something you are not. They know something you don't. They're having pleasure that is exclusive and not including you. So they're doing the big three. They're dishonest, they're unfair, and they are doing it to gain an advantage. Is this beginning to sound familiar? Something that you may have been noticing is happening in your relationship? This is very, very important to see all these things, and I have so many for you. So whether you call it an emotional affair, you call it emotional infidelity, you call it being emotionally unfaithful, or you call it emotional cheating. Now, we're not talking about people who are having physical sexual acts. We're talking about people who are at the emotional stage. And if someone has an emotional attachment to someone who is not their partner or their family, then we have to have our eyes wide open for it being an emotional affair. So what does an emotional affair look like? Well, I've written a whole list here, so I will go over them with you so that you can think about your situation, think about what you're being told, think about your suspicions, think about your experience to date with this person, and then think about these things. So what does emotional infidelity look like? Well, a person who is being emotionally unfaithful, they share things with another person that they don't share with you. So they're having fun, they're telling secrets, they're planning something. They maybe are more vulnerable with the other person. They tell them their deep personal secrets, or pretend to in the case of a hijackal, and they're not telling them to you. So you have been robbed of the closeness of the relationship because it belongs in their relationship with you, but it is being spent elsewhere. So another thing to look for is they make the other person, by having interaction with another person, it's intended to make you feel uncomfortable. It's intended to take care of their needs and take away their ability to take care of your needs. So what you come to expect as part of a healthy relationship may not have been there anyway because you're in relationship with a hijackal, but when they have an emotional affair going on, they want to make you uncomfortable on purpose. Another thing that these folks do when they're having an emotional affair is they stay in frequent contact with the other person by text all day. So you will see them texting. They never used to do that, but they're always on their phone. That's what I hear from my clients in many parts of the globe. Well, they're always on their phone. They didn't used to be like that. The phone is with them in the bathroom. The phone is with them at all times, and they're always texting somebody. That's often a good indicator of an emotional affair, at a minimum, emotional affair. And also, they make plans with that person, but you're not included. Now, if they were just friends, it wouldn't be a big deal for you to want to go along, right? But they make it more exclusive than that. So they make plans with that person that they don't make with you. They do things with that person they don't include you in. And they make plans that you don't know about. Now, of course, that's a bit tricky if you don't know about them, but know that they're doing that. If they're texting and doing all the things that I've mentioned earlier, and you're wondering what it's about, you can also guess that they're making plans to talk later or to have a little sexting or whatever is going on. So many things. They could be flirting and creating sexual tension and innuendo. And that could be happening. And when that happens, of course, that takes their sexual attention away from you and they're placing it elsewhere. So they try to deceive you into thinking it's okay because it's just online and we'll never meet and it's just for fun. And they may even say to you, I'm just leading somebody on or I'm just playing with them. But remember, as soon as they do that, they're admitting they would do it to you. So again, we have a good indication that they're probably engaging in an emotional affair, or at least being emotionally unfaithful. And also, they will look to that other person for emotional support rather than to look to you, which is if your relationship is in good shape and they're looking elsewhere for emotional support to another person that they are keeping a little bit secret, raise your antenna, get your radar going. Something's going on. Also, what if they take up a hobby or a passion that you don't share all of a sudden? And they rationalize spending so much time with the other person because they share it. They get it. Oh, well, we're part of the same team. We're part of the same club. We both like to do this. And I know you don't. And I don't want to put on you to make you do it with me. So I have this other person. Or I want to talk about this and you don't enjoy talking about it. So I don't bother you with it. I talk to this other person. Okay, that's fine if you're going shopping with a girlfriend or you're going to play pool with a male friend, but it's not when it starts to be consistent. Another thing they do is they lie about spending money on somebody else. They will lie about it, and that's always an indicator. Now, you may not have access to their spending, so you may not know, but if there isn't enough money to go around when there used to be, they could be spending money on another person. And here's a term you may not have heard: micro-cheating. They engage in micro-cheating, and that's just the little acts to test the water to see if they might like to go over to that other person, but they're not ready to give you up because they don't want to be without. So they do these little micro cheats, and they just go in that direction, but they pop back and they're testing to see, do I have a safe bet over there, or should I stay here and hedge my bets? And they want to keep the options open. So they will do these micro cheating things. And I was looking at a list from Lachlan Brown at hackspirit.com, and he gave some examples of this. And I thought, well, why not borrow those? So he said they may be flirting on social media. They may be flirting in person. If you're with a hijackal, you may very well know what I'm talking about, because flirting with the wait staff, or they're flirting with the bartender, or they're sizing up other people in the room and you can see them doing it, or making eye contact, or they do that kind of thing. They maybe go a little bit further and put up a dating profile, and then they want to get you to collude with them if you find that dating profile. Oh, I'm just doing it for fun. I'm just doing it to see what's out there. I'm just having fun. I'm not hurting anybody. Or they may communicate with their ex all of a sudden. Haven't had any communication for the longest time. And now we've got a little micro cheating going on. We're all of a sudden needing to talk to the ex. That's another sign that there could be an emotional affair going on. Or they go to events with that person alone. You're not included, and they have a list of reasons why that they need to do it, or they want to do it, or you wouldn't have any fun anyway, but they are ready with that because they want to do it. So they go to things alone with the other person. Or online, they'll hang out in chat rooms to flirt, and they'll actually be trying to make connections, maybe even get a few phone numbers. So they always have that supply. Things aren't going so well around here. I've got somebody to text. I've got somebody to reach out to. I'm not without resources. I'm not without a source of validation. And that happens frequently. If I can't get my needs met for validation and adoration and affirmation by my partner, I'll go and get it in a chat room somewhere, or in an online situation of some kind, or a phone friend. Now, how do people respond to these things? Well, there was a survey done in 2014 on a dating site, so nothing terribly scientific, but there were some interesting results that women downplay, or sorry, strike that. Men downplay emotional affairs. It's no big deal. Doesn't matter. It's only online. We're just friends. However, in that same survey, women think emotional affairs are worse than sexual ones. That women do not like the emotional affair because they're not getting that closeness with their partner. It's going elsewhere. So women think emotional affairs are worse than sexual ones. And also in this survey, more people are willing to forgive a strictly sexual affair. But an emotional one is harder to forgive. According to the survey, men are more likely to forgive an emotional affair. Now, here's a big one, too. Only 30% of women would forgive an emotional affair. Now, as I said, that was an informal dating site survey, so take it for what it might be or not be. But it is interesting to see the difference between men's opinion of an emotional affair, which they downplay, and women who feel it's even worse than if their partner had a sexual affair or a physical affair. So when the partner says, oh, well, you know, we're just friends, we're just talking, that means something entirely different to a woman who's hearing that and saying, no, that talking should be coming my way. We should be having that emotional intimacy, and it's going elsewhere. So important things to look at, because remember, cheating is cheating. It doesn't have gradations. You are cheating or you're not cheating. You are pregnant or you're not pregnant, you know? And when people are having emotional affairs, they want to think that there's some kind of grayscale that, oh, just because I'm longing to talk to that person and not longing to talk to you, that doesn't matter. I'm married to you, aren't I? Have you heard some of those things? That's what happens. And one of the big issues that you can start with if you're thinking about this is ask yourself the question, have my partner and I had a clear, long enough conversation about what cheating is to us and define it and talk about how we feel about it and the consequences of that cheating? You know, many times people say, well, what conversation should I have had before I got into a relationship? Most people don't have the right conversations before they get into a full-time committed relationship with someone or marry them. And one of them is the cheating conversation. You need to have had that conversation and define it and know what the consequences are. Many people avoid the difficult conversations. Another one they avoid, just for an example, is prior to getting together, they don't have in-depth conversations about finances or children. And these are important things because we don't want to ruin something that's feeling really good. We don't have the difficult conversations. And the cheating conversation is an important one. Big issue here. Don't let a partner blame you for their infidelity. It is not your fault. They may say, oh, you're inattentive, you work all the time, all of these things. If those things are true, pay attention to them. But they're still the ones who are choosing not to solve the problem with you, but are going elsewhere. So don't ever let them pin it on you. Invite them to solve the problem with you, but the solution is not to go elsewhere. So if they try to say that it's your behavior that causes them to want to have an emotional affair, you say, well, then let's solve the problem in our relationship. Don't go outside of it. And if you're going outside of it, don't pin it on me. And then know that there are going to be consequences to that behavior, because emotional affairs are kind of like drugs. Emotional affairs are gateway affairs. Once a person gets away with it and enjoys it and is getting more goodies than they were getting before, they want more of that. So they test. So ask yourself, how do I feel? That's what they're asking. How do I feel when I'm doing this? Can I get away with it? Is it too hard to lie? Do I get caught too often? Am I pulling the wool over my partner's eyes? This is what they're testing. Like, can I do this? Can I multitask in this way? And how much can I lie to myself and my partner and get away with it? Well, you already know that they're capable of lying in most cases. You don't want to believe that in the beginning, but you soon learn to. And remember, we're talking about relationships with hijackals. That's my word for those people who hijack relationships for their own purposes and needs, and then relentlessly scavenges it for power, status, and control. So they're the ones who are going to be playing with your emotions, and they are going to be seeing what they can get away with. So here comes the big list. The 10 shattering signs that partners having an emotional affair come because of these 10 big differences between friendship, quote, and emotional infidelity. So you can tell if it's a friendship or it's emotional infidelity by the extent of the emotional investment the person is making. If they're giving their time, they're giving their money, they're seeing, hiding out, texting, how involved are they? Because a friendship does not involve that kind of time or energy or secrecy. That's number one. And number two is that they have established intimacy with someone. They are whispering and laughing and carrying on and wanting to talk to that person and getting up in the middle of the night to talk to them. That's not a friendship. That is something more. Again, then number three is they micro cheat. They go in the back door and they just like social media posts, or they like or love photographs, or they run into each other and have coffee kind of mystically, didn't know it was going to happen. Isn't that lovely? And it starts happening more frequently. The fourth big difference between friendship and emotional infidelity is they actually start looking forward to spending time with the person with whom they are cheating. And so they don't have time for you, or they don't want to make a plan with you, or you ask them if they can do something and they're not sure. They're really not sure. They'll tell you closer to the time. Now, that may be a pattern they already had, or if it's new or it's getting more frequent, then know that that's a red flag that they could be cheating. And cheating in an emotionally unfaithful way. We're not talking about physical cheating at this point, sexual cheating. We're talking about emotional cheating in this episode. Now, number 5 is related to what I just said. You can see a marked decrease in the amount of time they spend with you. Whatever they used to do in terms of time spent with you, quality time, there is less of it because they're on the phone, or they're texting, or they're going to wherever that place is, they share that hobby or whatever, and there's only so much time, so you're getting less and the emotional partner is getting more. Here's a big one. They who is having an emotional affair will be less interested in sexual intimacy with you because they're getting their needs met elsewhere, or they will become vastly more interested in sexual intimacy with you because their emotional affair charges them up and they use you as a substitute. Now, that's huge. It really is huge. So watch for both ends of that spectrum, that they're either reducing their interest in physical and sexual intimacy with you, or they're really speeding it up, especially when they've just finished texting and you are become a substitute for their emotional partner. Number 7, they are distant because they're preoccupied with thoughts about the person with whom they're having an affair. So you notice that they're not present emotionally when they are with you because they're thinking of the other person. And they spend more time out of the house or in the garage or going for bike rides with their phone. All these things are occurring. So they are distant. They're just not present to you. And number 8 is they don't talk about your relationship or solve issues and problems with you. They may not have done that very well before, but at least they were focused on you. And when they stop being interested in solving any problems at all, consider whether they're having an emotional affair, particularly if there's scars on their thumbs from texting. You may be very clear what they're up to, right? And number 9 is they insist, and repeat and get angry about you questioning them because we're just friends. No, to go back to the beginning, friends is a whole different thing. Friends is just enjoying conversation, enjoying a few laughs, and being on your way. But you're not just friends when there is sexual tension, flirting. You have taken your emotional intimacy needs over to their side of the equation. No. And the last one is you can feel them withdrawing from the relationship. You can feel that the energy is not coming in your direction. The eye contact is not coming in your direction. You have a reduced amount of time with them. They don't want to discuss things with you. They push you off and say, no, I'm busy now, or I don't want to discuss that, or I'm not going to have that conversation with you because they're invested elsewhere. I know that's a lot to think about, but I wanted to give you enough to think about so that you could really consider what's going on in my relationship. When somebody is texting all the time, and they didn't used to be texting all the time, big red flag. We know about those, right? And if you're wondering about this and you want to talk to me about it, know that you can do that. I offer a new client full hour consultation for $97 at beaclient.com. Or you want to jump into my membership program, you'll find it at emergingempowered.com. Or if you want to go directly to it, you can go to joinintoday.com. That way you can get 3 opportunities a month to be in a group call and ask me all your questions, along with a whole lot of things, including our new Emerging Empowered journals. So go over to joinintoday.com and become a member. Get all kinds of free goodies over there. Also, if you're enjoying the program and getting value from it, you can support it at podcast at patreon.com/saveyoursanity. Patreon.com/saveyoursanity. So much for you. Absolutely. So if you're concerned that someone's withdrawing from you, not really in the relationship anymore, and when you confront them that they're on their phone or they're going out a lot or whatever, and they tell you, you worry too much, we're just friends, I have something I need to do, they won't define it, they won't introduce you to the people with whom they're having conversations. Now you have a whole lot of things to think about. So go back and listen to it again if you need to or want to. And also, if you'd like to get my newsletter, go to hijackalhelp.com and sign up. Comes every Thursday. Lots of good things there for you at hijackalhelp.com. I'm sorry if you have heard so much today that has confirmed that you think your partner's having an emotional affair. But it's better that you should have that information than not. And I know it's not welcome information because then you feel, well, not only badly, but then what do I do about it? And that becomes a whole other issue. I will do an episode on that very soon, what to do when you find someone is emotionally unfaithful to you, because you want to feel some power in the situation. And confronting them straight on is not usually a productive thing to do. And you probably already know that because you've been in relationship with this hijackal for a while. So think about these things, ponder these things, watch the progress of your relationship, watch for the signs that I have spoken of tonight, and then maybe do some journaling. What have I noticed? Just in case you want to sweep it under the rug and say, oh, no. Write it down so you can revisit your thoughts. That's always an important thing to do. And until we speak again, take very good care of yourself. Watch for these things. Open your eyes to them and deal with them, even though you don't want to, because that's self-care. And self-care is never selfish. Take that very good care of yourself because you're precious and you matter. And I'll be back with you with another episode next week. Talk soon. Good evening, everybody. Hi, and welcome. Let's see what we have. Oh, Rendell, I'm doing much better. Good for you. High five. That's great. Stanley, oh, haven't seen you for a while. I think you've been here before from Glendale. Ursel, good evening. I heard today by a psychiatrist that covert narcissists also have sociopathic tendencies. Not necessarily. They can, but not necessarily. People do not have to have comorbidities. They can just simply be narcissistic, but they could have a little leaning in another direction as well. But it's a big could. It's not an always, for sure. Psychotherapist, psychiatrist, whomever you were following, that's not always the case. Randell says, my problem is that hijackals think we are mentally non-present. Yes, they want to think that. They hope that. They want to be able to do whatever they want to do without being questioned or having someone be suspicious of them, for sure. That's absolutely the case. A new chapter. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome. How about when it's his mother that is like his girlfriend? You mean his mother is a substitute for a girlfriend? That kind of feeling? I'll go with that one until you correct me. The problem with hijackals is that if they have a hijackal mother and they happen to be a man, a boy child, hijackal mothers kind of marry one of their sons and make what I call upside down parenting. So healthier humans know that when they have a child, they're there to meet the needs of the child. That's what healthier humans do. When hijackals have children, it's upside down parenting. The hijackal believes they have the child to take care of their needs. So when you get into a situation when the mother is like his girlfriend, that's probably what happened. The mother is actually kind of, quote unquote, married to her son because she's, at a far too early age, made him responsible for her emotional well-being. And that happens very frequently. And maybe other people will have moments that they can comment on that as well. Allie, welcome. I've heard, oh, you don't have to be included. I don't really care anymore because I have the power to feel like getting together if I feel like getting together. Yes, well, somebody else doesn't get to gaslight you and tell you what you have to do and what you don't have to do, or how you feel or how you don't feel. Put that in the gaslighting category, Allie, and then it'll make more sense because you are an autonomous human. And you do what you do, you feel what you feel, you think what you think, you want what you want, And that's for you to say, not for somebody else. And that's where gaslighting comes in. And I really recently just did another episode on gaslighting from a different angle. So at any time, you can go into the podcast. You can do it on my website at SaveYourSanityPodcast.com, or go wherever you like and put my name in, or Save Your Sanity, and then put your keyword in, like gaslighting, and it'll bring up all the episodes. But that's there. Hello, Linda. Emily, hello. Haven't seen your name appear here before. Can someone accuse their partner of cheating so often that they end up proving the abuser right? Excuse me. Yes, that happens. And then what happens is it's a kind of reactive abuse. I did a whole episode on reactive abuse. That's where the hijackal prods you and pokes you and makes you really upset. And then finally you blow up and you get angry. And then they say you're the abuser. Well, this is the same kind of thing. They will tell you that you're cheating, that you can't be trusted, that you're sure they're sure you're always having someone else in your life. So I've heard it far too many times, and I wish people wouldn't do it. But then they say, well, if I was being accused of it anyway, I just decided I might as well go and do it. Now you're both in the same camp. You're equally at fault, and that's not a good thing. So some people do that, but remember, the person who goes out to cheat, whether it's a hijackal or their other partner, if you go out to cheat, you're still a cheater, no matter why you went and cheated. So it becomes a very clear line that we have to be careful with there. Mahogany says, mother, son, husband, ? I'm sorry, but I have no context for that question. I don't know what you were referring to in that situation, so I can't really answer that one. Now something has happened here, and it looks like that was the last comment that was made by Mahogany. Remember, if you want to ask a question or make a comment, it takes about 20 seconds from when you hit send for it to get to me. So when I haven't seen any for 30 seconds, I consider our evening over. So if you have something in here and it's not showing up, I'm sorry about that. But if you have something you do want to say, please make sure that you carry on and ask those questions so that we don't run out of time before you get your question answered. But at this moment, there's nothing in there that needs to be addressed or is showing up at all. So maybe you're all in deep thought about this. Am I in a situation where I actually have a relationship with somebody who is being emotionally unfaithful? And if that is the case, notice it, watch for it, think about all the things, go back and listen to this podcast again, and then decide, all right, what do I feel about this? What do I think about this? What do I want to do about this? And again, if you need my help or want my help, go to beaclient.com and use that new client opportunity. Or if you are already a member of Emerging Empowered Community, go in there and ask the questions. I'm spending more time in there these days and getting more opportunity to answer questions. So go in there or join in the membership at joinintoday.com so that you can be part of the next Ask Me Anything group call. So you can ask a question that you might have. Now, this software sometimes plays games and doesn't show all the comments or cuts them off. And I think maybe something has happened, but there are no more comments showing up. And I have no way of knowing if that's what you wanted or tried to do, or if the software has got a glitch in it. But I'm so glad that you were with me tonight, and I hope this has been helpful information for you. So know that I'm here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. And if you want to know the topics, all you have to do is subscribe on YouTube or go to my page, facebook.com/hijackals, and like the page, and you'll get a notification on Facebook about what the topic is each Monday evening. So until we meet again, take very good care of yourself, because you're precious and you matter, and nobody should be having an emotional affair on you. Talk soon.